But there was a little bit of adversity for this game. Started pregame, J.J. Starling, a star guard for Syracuse, no pun intended. He was a game time decision with a hamstring injury, of course. He's nursing through it, and the broadcast on Peacock confirmed it, that he's dealing with a hamstring injury. As myself and Neil Adler yesterday predicted, J.J. Starling did not suit up for this game. On top of that, you had Tyler Betsey around midway through the first half. He tweaked his left ankle. I hope it's not severe. I'm cautiously optimistic, but he did not return for the remainder of the game. And I'm recording this before Adrian Autry speaks at the podium, so maybe I'll leave a pinned comment in the comment section below when we get an update on Tyler Betsey. But he got hurt in this game, and hopefully he is okay. I do believe that Syracuse going forward is going to need Tyler Betsey, especially because of his shooting. But Syracuse basketball, they did not have the greatest start in the world. They trailed at the under 16 timeout. They trailed at the under 12 timeout. They were getting badly out-rebounded in the first half. Drexel was on fire to start the game. I believe they shot 7 of 8 to start. And honestly, I mean, Syracuse's defense, they were doing their usual thing. They were forcing turnovers. They were clamping down on Drexel players, and they were making tough shots. That's just the best way to put it. But when you're making tough shots, sometimes you just have to put your arms up in the air and say, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And Drexel in the first half, I believe, shot 50%. And there was a moment with around 3 minutes left in the first half that, in my opinion, it woke up Syracuse basketball. At this point, they're leading by 4 points. It's in the first half. And Drexel has a sequence where they get not 1, not 2, but 3 consecutive offensive rebounds. And not only were they getting offensive rebounds, they were getting offensive rebounds off wide open shots. And finally, on the 4th attempt, Drexel hits a 3 to make it 31-30 Syracuse. And you could tell, based on the reaction from everyone on Syracuse, players on the court, Adrian Autry, players on the bench as well, they were upset. And that's good. Sometimes it's good to show a little bit of outward frustration. You want to stay composed, but when you have a sequence like that, and it looks like you might be sleepwalking a little bit, you got to wake up. And I give Syracuse a lot of credit for recognizing that in that moment, that letting up 3 consecutive offensive rebounds and then finally having Drexel make a 3-pointer to make it a 1-point game in the first half, you got to be better than that. And to Syracuse's credit, they close out the first half strong. Nate George goes coast to coast to beat full court pressure, gets a layup at the buzzer, 37-32 Syracuse at the break. And I was feeling pretty good. Even though Syracuse was getting, I think, out-rebounded 19-7, I felt that the way the game was going, it was not reflective of the score. Syracuse was just going to have to be a little bit better offensively, and defensively, they were fine. They were forcing turnovers. Drexel at some point is just going to start missing shots. And that is essentially what happened, because the second half of this game for Syracuse was a complete masterclass on how to play basketball, regardless of the level of play. They were absolutely outstanding. They outscored Drexel in the second half, 43-18. They didn't give him a chance. They forced multiple turnovers with full court pressure. Syracuse was having its way, getting to the rim. If Nate George wasn't finishing, if Luke Fennell wasn't finishing, if Kiyan Anthony wasn't finishing, then you had multiple guys there for putback dunks, whether it was Donnie Freeman, whether it was William Kyle. I felt one of the big moments of the second half when Syracuse, they were starting to pull ahead. They were up by double digits, but 2 freshmen, Sadiq White and Luke Fennell, made 5 straight free throws. 5 of them. You had Sadiq White in transition get fouled, knock down 2 free throws. Luke Fennell at the end of the shot clock gets a little bit bailed out, gets fouled, goes to the line, hits 3 consecutive free throws. That's 5 points right there. That's how you extend a double-digit lead around 10, 11, 12 points to all of a sudden an 18, 19, 20-point lead. As Brent Axe says, and Brent Axe, a former professor of mine, also does a post-game podcast as well, free throws matter. He is absolutely right. So I just wanted to highlight that moment as well. And Syracuse on defense, like I said, they did their usual thing. How many turnovers did Drexel have as a team? I have it right now, 18 turnovers, according to ESPN. And a lot of it is because of Syracuse. It's not just because of the opponent that they're playing. Obviously, that helps. But Syracuse is just pressing up on all of these offensive players. And I think it's honestly contributing to the lack of rebounding so far. But they're doing a great job of pressing up on everyone, helping when someone gets beat. And as a result, you're creating a lot of havoc, a lot of confusion, and you're creating turnovers. And coming up, we'll talk about a lot of the positives right now for Syracuse basketball because for the most part, it's positive. Like, I know that's really not on brand for me. Like, I'm usually the big, yelly, screamy guy, even though I'm not big, but I do yell because the team is just not playing well. They're losing, and I react the way I react, but I go out like I see it. Like, this Syracuse team is just night and day from what we saw last year, from what we saw in year one with Adrian Autry, and any of the final years of the Jim Boeheim era.